There we go. So right now these recordings are going to be on the Jefferson Center YouTube. I will send that out in an email at the end of this meeting. It'll just be a link. That's where that's going to live for right now. But we are still working on getting a website set up where all of these recorded meetings will live from here on out. But for now, I will just email out that link for you to make it easy. Okay. So just to go over a few of the things that we discussed last meeting back in November, which is forever ago, it seems. I'm not sure how many of you folks were there for that meeting, but we discussed some existing and potential activities for mindfulness and self-care in the office and outside of the office. And we did come up with a pretty extensive list. I can send that out again. That should be in my last email from that meeting. So we came up with a good list of things we can do to prevent burnout inside the office and things that are available to folks in our community as a whole. So we were thinking about working and learning outdoors through initiatives such as the recess program, or having like an hour a week, a mindfulness hour, to just take that time, maybe go outside, do whatever you need to do. I believe Nurse Mary Pat, who is not with us today, but she mentioned incorporating artwork into our mindfulness efforts. There are museums and different art organizations that do promotional events for students and for employees that are looking to incorporate art into their work and into their self-care. And then we were discussing creating a toolkit that kind of includes all of these opportunities, and putting it into one packet or one toolkit, so that folks have this all accessible and ready to know all the opportunities. And so I just kind of want to focus on how we are going to create that toolkit and where all this can be found, and if it could all just live together in one spot. So I was thinking that I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. Stop sharing. So with this website, I was wanting to hear your thoughts on having a separate tab, perhaps, on specifically burnout prevention. So this website is going to be for the Suicide Prevention Coalition of our counties. Sorry, Lori, I just saw your message. Yes, I will send out that flyer and that link. So yes, that will be the coalition, the full coalition website. And we're planning on having a lot of different features. We'll have a calendar with a bunch of the trainings that are coming up in our communities. And I was thinking of adding a separate tab just for the action groups and for burnout prevention specifically. And I was thinking that that would be a great place to put that toolkit with a list of existing opportunities. But I'd love to hear from you folks on how exactly you want to go about that, what we want to include, what would be the best way to organize that information. I have a few ideas, but I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you think that this is even a good idea to begin with. So yeah, I would love to hear what y'all are thinking.
Rachel, am I understanding correctly that this website that's for like the full coalition, would it be accessible for anybody who is curious about the work, not just people who are members, right?
Right. Yes, that should be available to the general public. Yes. And
okay.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that we will promote this website more once we have it up and running. And I'm hoping to get good use out of that, because I feel like the one that we have currently hasn't really been updated, and to my knowledge, isn't really used all that much. So that's one of my big initiatives for the coalition this year is to get everything in one place and make it very user-friendly and accessible to anybody that wants this information.
Awesome. That's very helpful. I just wanted to make sure if it was going to live on a website, it'd be a website that anybody could get to. So if it was like a business leader who wanted to take a look at it for their employees, that they would be able to find it pretty easily. So sounds like they could.
Yes, absolutely. That is the goal. So yeah, I think since our goal is just to make these burnout prevention opportunities as available as we can and as accessible, because there are so many initiatives that already exist, and I think the issue is just letting people know about that. So how I'm thinking that if we do have a separate tab on the website for specifically burnout prevention, I was thinking maybe we do a monthly list of activities in our counties. Maybe perhaps I can ask everyone at the beginning of the month if you have any activities that you know of, anything going on, to just send that to me by a certain date, and I can be the one to update the website monthly with those opportunities. Or perhaps a calendar might be a better strategy. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
I think the calendar part is complicated just because the amount of updating that takes and moving forward and keeping that all on track. It doesn't sound, in speaking with Sam in the past about it, like it doesn't sound as daunting, but it does become daunting. A list may be easier because you can just post sort of like a document or a Word document. That's also, I think, pretty time consuming. Again, something that doesn't sound that hard to keep up with, but can be. But as far as the website, and I know we did like a major update to it. I want to say recently, but it could have been anywhere in the last 5 to 6 years, basically. But before that, historically, our website really wasn't used. So it's much more manageable now than it ever has been. But I think it would be great to have that as a functional website. It's just a matter of getting people to that website and making the website well known, which I know has been a little bit of a hurdle.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. And I've been speaking with Stephanie and some of our web design folks, and that website is kind of a mystery. We can't figure out who created it, and we're struggling to get on the back end of it and trying to reorganize. So we decided we're just going to create an entirely new website and have it be a lot more specific and a lot more accessible, and hopefully get that out there so that folks can actually use it. That's another important thing to think about, like how would we promote this website, and what would be a good way to get the word out there that this exists, and we have so many great resources and everything that will be on this website. Yeah, what do y'all think? How would we get that out there? So I can share with internal folks, or in our coalition meetings and any sort of meetings, we can always like say a little blurb. By the way, we got a new website, go check it out. Erica, I see you're unmuted. Any ideas?
Yeah, I was just going to say, sharing with the local health districts, like the Clear Creek Health Department, and having them post things, and then the schools as well. I'm sure that, and Hannah can speak more to this, like what's allowed to post. I know like in Clear Creek specifically, but having that information out there specifically, at the schools would impact, I think, more the caregivers, and then, maybe with the health department and such, that could impact both caregivers and providers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really like that idea. Would you think that with schools, perhaps once we have that website up and running, we let our school-based staff know, and that can be sent out in like a newsletter, perhaps, or like those emails to parents? Or do we want to make this accessible for students as well and kind of promote it towards the students themselves?
I think it would depend on exactly what the content is, but I mean, I'm sure Hannah can think of specific instances where just sending it directly to a specific parent would be helpful, as well as sharing it far and wide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I guess how I would envision it, at least from the school perspective, is yeah, we could share it with, like at Clear Creek, we have our Jefferson Center school-based staff are on our school health team. And then our school health team also has, our counselors and other providers. And so I think if, school-based staff was able to share that in these, team meetings, it would get that word out to other providers. And then we could hang on to that resource list and provide it to families as we see a need.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
So I guess my gut is saying maybe not youth facing, not like a student facing resource list, but having the resource list, have a person be able to pick and choose what might be helpful from that list for a specific student or their family.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this website will hopefully have, it will have a lot of suicide prevention resources. It'll include the post-vention work group that we have in this work group, and also the training for all action group. So it'll just kind of have extensive information. And we'll just have like burnout specifically that I think could definitely be catered more towards parents and caregivers than the students. And yes, Sarah, I love the idea of sharing with chambers and councils through the cities. Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps we could get we could get this on their resource lists for certain public health organizations and whatnot, that I know they have their extensive resources for their for the folks they treat and come in contact with. So perhaps getting that out there and getting put on everyone's resource list. That's definitely going to be a great way to promote this website. Thank you, Sarah.
Rachel, I'm thinking one of the best ways that we can gain buy-in from different organizations is let's find out from them possibly what they need. Now, I realize that sounds like a daunting task. However, if you were to create just a quick questionnaire about issues that are relevant to them, for example, with burnout, what are they seeing with burnout? What would be helpful for them with burnout? Get their response so that we're making sure that the information that we're providing is relevant to them. We might have an idea of what we think would be helpful for burnout, but until we ask individuals, I think we do a disservice, meaning you put in an awful lot of effort of putting information on a website that people aren't going to access because it's not relevant to them. So I think any questions that we would be able to put out to these groups would make it much more, they'd be much more willing to share it.
Yes, definitely. That's a really great point. Yeah, I think we should be meeting folks where they're at and trying to fill the gaps that exist. Absolutely. I really love that idea. Do we want to brainstorm together and try and come up with a questionnaire to maybe for our next meeting, come back with a good list of questions and have that available to send out? Or I'm also happy to create a questionnaire, and Lori, maybe if I can send you those questions, have you look over, see if
I think if you sent it to all of us, yeah. So I think if you were to create the questionnaire and send it to folks, and we can take a look at it, give some suggestions, thumbs up, whatever, and go from there. I think that would be a better use, certainly, of your time. And again, I don't think that this should be a big task, but I just think it makes it much more meaningful to people.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Okay. And then who do you think what's our main target with these questionnaires? What's our target audience? So local, like just cities, our chambers, councils through the cities. Do we just send like directly, or do we want to send this out into different work groups and meetings that we have? Who specifically do we want to reach?
I think this could be a question for the larger group as well, the larger Suicide Prevention Coalition, as far as partners. And I know we've previously in the past with post-vention work have connected with coroner's office, for example, local businesses, municipalities, et cetera. But I think if you tap into some of those memory banks there, they'll be able to remember. And I know that there probably are some surveys that we've done in the past connecting and asking some similar questions. I think also a partner that may be worth connecting with would be CTC, the Communities That Care Coalition, Jeffco Connects, and some of those larger system level pieces who are widely in touch with both caregivers and teens, depending upon what you're looking for. But if you're looking to have reach for this website. Also, the website was redone in about 2020 with some grant funding that Sam secured, and she purchased the URL as well. So not that long ago, just to give you guys some context.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. We've been searching for weeks trying to figure out who has been working on this website, but we could not for the life of us figure it out. So that's good to know. We will still be redoing it if I feel like this new website will include a lot more information and be a lot more helpful, hopefully.
Will it be connected to that larger URL? I know there was quite a bit of work with that URL that was purchased with the actual name of the coalition to have traffic directed there. So to redirect again, only 2 years later or 3 years later, may be a little bit complicated and worth considering creating a whole new monster when a lot of our resources are also still available on that website. Just a thought. Up to you, of course, but.
Yeah, no, we had been discussing that for a little while. I was trying to just revamp the existing website and add a bunch of all the stuff that I would like to be on there. And our web master said that it might be easier to just create a new website, but somehow still be able to keep that URL. I'm not quite sure on the technical end of things. We are working with some folks on that. I'm mostly trying to figure out the content that we want on the website. So I do have a meeting with them later today. So I will have some updates for you on the website. And then also during our February full coalition meeting, we should have made some progress by then. So hopefully I'll have some better updates and be able to get you some more info on that.
Back to who you should send the survey to, I think obviously Resilience 1220, but the Boys and Girls Clubs like Platte Canyon School District, that area, they have a very active Boys and Girls Club. So it might be interesting to see kind of what they see and how they, if there are any resources that could potentially be offered to them. So that might be an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a great one. Thank you. I will add that to the list.
And I typed a couple things in the chat. I know Derek Morgan's on this invite, so he would probably have some good thoughts on the university college perspective, because they may have different needs. So we should probably reach out to them. And from the healthcare perspective, we could probably, get some information from the hospital and our clinics to see what they might want to see.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, amazing. I have a great list going. Okay, so I think I will come up with a questionnaire, and then I will bring it up during our February meeting to see what folks think. I will just send that out and get some feedback on that, and then try and compile a big master list of who we should send this out to. I will extend this out into that full coalition meeting so we get lots of different ideas. But with burnout specifically, what ideas do we have besides the website, besides putting all of our resources and activities on the website, what would be another way to promote all of these activities that we know exist within our communities? I feel like that is the main issue, is that there is so much available, but no one really knows about it. Perhaps an idea I had is maybe for like monthly newsletters that companies do. I know ours at Jeff Center, we have our CEO writes a monthly email to everybody, kind of recapping what's happening this month. And I know that happens within schools and other organizations of just kind of like monthly newsletters, whatnot. If we were, again, giving that information out to those, just specifically those burnout centered activities to folks, and then just having that included in the newsletter. Does that sound like a good idea? I don't know if that's logistically.
I think it's a great idea. It's getting hold of the right people to get that information to the right places. Like, do they have communications people? And that's a lot of organizations to reach out to. So
Right.
it's logistically challenging.
Yes.
The Healthy Jeffco Coalition as well, Kelly Cass runs that, and
Mhm.
that's comprised of a lot of system level leaders within the county. So that may be a place worth plugging in to see if there's a suitable place to send out that information, or how that might fit into the Healthy Jeffco Alliance work as well. I know broadly it won't, but I think that if there is some type of resources for individuals working within those systems to prevent burnout, that may be something worth talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I've been meaning to get in touch with Kelly Cast as well, with quite a few other initiatives, so that would be perfect. Okay.
What about utilizing social media, which I don't do, but I know a lot of people do, and they get their information that way.
Yes, that's a great idea. I feel like most folks, especially younger populations, are going to get all their info from social media. And I think that's probably one of the best ways to market these events today. So yeah, absolutely. We could speak with our social media teams. I know Jefferson Center has one. I know we got an Instagram and TikTok, I think. So we can speak with marketing coordinators and see how to get that info out there as well. Perhaps make it part of their routine posts, maybe once a month or something, to promote a burnout specific initiative going on in the community. That's a great idea. I think that's also probably one of the more doable ones. Awesome. Add that to the list as well. Okay, I think we have a great list going, a great start. I think it's a little difficult right now with this whole website situation, because I have so many ideas of what to put on this website, and it just doesn't exist yet. So I think once we have that figured out, it'll be a little bit more organized, a little bit easier to manage, and we can start getting everything. We can see what it looks like and how it's going to be organized, and we can kind of be a little bit more specific on what we want on there, and we can see the needs. So okay, so I think going forward from here, I'm gonna create the questionnaire and bring it to the full coalition and see who we should send that to and what the content is. We have a list going already of who we should reach out to, and I will see in the full coalition, I'll bring this question up again and see what other ideas folks have. And then I think at our next meeting, we will have all those materials, and we will focus on starting to send those out and creating content for this website, what we want to include, and get into the more nitty-gritty specifics. Yeah, like I said, this meeting I think is more just brainstorming. I just want to hear your ideas, what goals you may have for this group, big or small. Just I would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, nothing too crazy content based today. Not much to implement quite yet, but a lot of work to do in the future. So if anyone else has any ideas they'd like to share, or what they would like to see this group do this year, I would love to hear from you.
I'm just going to kind of throw this out, and I know there are a lot of resources out there already for first responders, but I think that's a group that is really struggling. So, there again, maybe it's just connecting the dots and getting more information out there about what's already available.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can imagine burnout is definitely a huge issue in that field for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many specific, like career specific or individual specific initiatives that we can, I'm so excited to finally like tie together and put it all together. There's so many similar resources that can be used for multiple different organizations and populations and whatnot that yeah, just really hoping to connect that and getting that out there.
This goes along with the first responders, but I've been working for several months with the U.S. Forest Service Rocky Mountain region. So, you know, that's going to include areas of our group and tremendously high burnout there. But they have this fantastic program every Wednesday. It's called Wellness Wednesday, where they bring everybody in. I'd be happy to put you in contact, Rachel, with the individual that facilitates that. And again, another person to possibly answer, here's what would be beneficial for us. But I think that they would benefit from any of the information that we're able to put together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I haven't heard too much about burnout in that industry. So that's very good to know. And that can for sure be a focus point of this group. Yeah, love that. I want to be able to reach as far and wide in our counties as we can, and get all those populations the resources that they need. So that's a great thing to consider. I will add that to the list as well. Any other thoughts? Okay, I will come up. So I have this list of who we can be reaching out to. And I will be working on the questionnaire. I will sum this all up in a document for everyone after this meeting. And then just going forward, I'll include some goals for the next meeting and for things to think about for our next coalition meeting. Just essentially, where are the gaps? Who do we need to reach out to? And what should we be asking is kind of the overall focus. I think just what to keep in mind. Yeah, that is all I have for you today. Pretty nice and short. Does anyone else have any questions, anything they'd like to add? Okay, awesome. I will stop recording. And again,